standing up to the warmongers, the stupid warmongers, and the neocons and the rhinos, the big money special interests, the open border fanatics, crazy people. Standing up to the fake news media. Look at all of them there. That's a big group, but they don't want to tell the truth. That's why most of them are going down the tubes. You look at what's happening with media, they're going down the tubes because they don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to talk about what's happening with the laptop from hell. They don't want to talk about those things, and that's what's happening to them. But the vultures and the sellouts who got rich, bleeding America dry, our opponents have done everything they can to crush our spirit and to break our will. But they've failed. They've only made us stronger. And 2024 is the final battle. That's going to be the big one. If you put me back in the White House, their reign will be over, and America will be a free nation once again. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them. They know that. You know, there's never been a movement like this in the history of our country, probably in the history of almost every country. MAGA, Make America Great Again, America First, call it whatever you want. But I will tell you, there's never been in history, look at this crowd, as far as the eye can see. We flew over. It was a beautiful sight. As far as the eye can see. And I did tell you, your great Lieutenant Governor, I said, you know, Dan, let's not do one of those 50-50 areas or an area where we're a little behind. Let's go right into the heart of it. Come on, let's go. Let's go where we were close to 100%, right? That's what we did. But as far as the eye can see, the abuses of power that we're currently witnessing at all levels of government will go down as among the most shameful, corrupt, and depraved chapters in all of American history. It's happening right before your eyes. But we're going to end up winning. The Biden regime's weaponization of law enforcement against their political opponent is something straight out of the Stalinist Russian horror show. And you know, we go Stalinist Russia. That's what it was. This was where it seems to have begun from the standpoint of us watching it in semi-modern day history. You go back to communist China or look at a third world banana republic. That's what we've become. Between our borders, our elections, and the weaponization of law enforcement, banana republic, that's what we have become. Let there be no doubt the injustices being done, not only to me, but to dozens across our country will not stand, and we're not going to stand for it. When this election is over, I will be the President of the United States. You will be vindicated and proud, and the thugs and criminals who are corrupting our justice system will be defeated, discredited, and totally disgraced. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. From the beginning, it's been one witch hunt and phony investigation after another. And you know, because of it, our country never talks about greatness anymore. You look at what China does. They go all over the world. They spend money. They take over governments. They do a lot of things. And we're always looking. We got crazy people like Shifty Schiff and Hillary and all of these people. These people, they don't want to talk about greatness for our country. All they want to do is investigate everybody, but they are the ones that are really under investigation. I also want to thank the Republican Congress because, you know, people can be critical, but they are working so hard. Jim Jordan, James Comer, he's become a great star. These are great people, and they're putting themselves at risk because they take a lot of abuse, but they're doing something that we haven't seen in Washington in 25 years. So I want to just thank those two and many people that are working with them. In my case, every piece of my personal life, financial life, business life, and public life has been turned upside down and dissected like no one in the history of our country, Marjorie, I think we can say, right? I don't think we can find anybody. They even got the Supreme Court of the United States to give them my tax returns, something that was never supposed to happen. Legal scholars say that's a shocker. And everything they wanted about me, they got every single thing they wanted about me. The Supreme Court said, oh, give it to the prosecutors, that's okay. He only appointed 3 of them. Not a lot of, we don't want loyalty, we want what's right, but sort of strange, isn't it? Give them everything they want. They actually came down with one ruling that, no, you can't do that to presidents, but to Trump you can. To Trump you can. And we've been a special administration, and we have special people. There's nobody like the people we have. They're the smartest. They're the best. These are the most. Look at all the money they're sitting over here. They're all over because, and you know what? They've made that money the old-fashioned way. You're right. Front Row Joe. The Front Row Joes will never forget them. And my friends from North Carolina, who are unbelievable, beautiful, incredible women. Incredible people. They travel all over. What is this, like number 93, I think, right? Number 93. Oh, they go, no, actually more. But we appreciate it. 101, Front Row Joe, 101, all the Joes. But the Supreme Court is afraid, just like Republicans are afraid, to do something about what has happened. And they have to fight. The Supreme Court didn't have the courage to right the wrong of the 2020 election. They knew what was going on. Tax returns were always considered sacred. Lawyers, in their own way, if you can believe this, were considered sacred. Today, lawyers go before grand juries all over this place, if they happen to be lawyers representing Republicans, and they treat lawyers like they're criminals. It used to be if you had a lawyer, the lawyer was somebody that was very much considered from the standpoint of what we're talking about above reproach. Now they get thrown in with everybody else, and it's a very unusual situation that's taking place. And again, legal scholars can't believe what they're witnessing. And yet, after going over 11 million pages of documents, I built a great company. They've got nothing. They've got nothing. Think of it. 11 million pages. And my tax returns on top of it, and they're a big return. It probably makes me the most innocent man in the history of our country. Friends of mine say that. Very successful friend of mine said, you know what? President, on page 3, they got me. Got 11 million pages we gave over to various groups, including Congress. The new weapon being used by out-of-control, unhinged Democrats to cheat on election is criminally investigating a candidate, bad publicity and all. You get bad publicity. It's the craziest thing. I got bad publicity and my poll numbers have gone through the roof. Would you explain this to me? Explain that to me, Dan. Mr. Congressman, you got to explain it to me because nobody else has ever heard of it. But you know what? It gets so much publicity that the case actually gets adjudicated in the press. And people see it's bullshit, and they go and they say, it's unfair. But it takes place by the Department of Injustice and their local henchmen at the AG and DA's offices throughout the country. They use the local offices, like in New York City, like in Atlanta, like in Chicago and Los Angeles. They make lives miserable, destroy their families and friends, even though they know these people are innocent. In many cases, they're patriots. They're not guilty of anything, and yet they have to go through hell. And if you're running for office, even Dan, but I don't think they'd ever go after him. But we have some great congressmen that probably they wouldn't go after because they're too clean. They're the cleanest people I've ever met. They come from Texas. They have to be clean. But let's say they're not that well known. They're doing a good job, and an investigation is started into one of these many great people. They're going to lose their race. They're going to lose their race. And they do it all the time. They're using investigations now because it's harder for them to stuff the ballot boxes, of which they stuff plenty. You know, Marjorie is here, Truth to Vote. And they found at least 5 million instances on tape, and the courts didn't want to even look at it. The District Attorney of New York, under the auspices and direction of the Department of Injustice in Washington, D.C., was investigating me for something that is not a crime, not a misdemeanor, not an affair. I never liked Horseface. It's just not. That's a terrible thing. That wouldn't be the one. There is no one. We have a great First Lady. Who people really do love. And she's done an incredible job. Not an era, not anything. They have nothing. And yet it went on and on and on and continues to. He stacked his office with D.C. operatives. A man named Matthew Colangelo, one of the top people in the Department of Justice, was moved into the Manhattan DA's office to make sure that Trump got taken care of. They couldn't get it done in Washington, so they said, let's use local offices. So they have Colangelo, the top, just about the top, one of the top people under the Attorney General Garland, and they sent him into New York to be in the Manhattan office. Can you imagine that? In order to prosecute and do everything he could to get rid of Trump, because, you know, our poll numbers are through the roof. I guess you've seen that. They don't like it.